And welcome on back, high atop the floor at the Clark Athletic Center, the Beacon Broadcasting Network, welcoming you back in for the second half of a huge conference tilt. The UMass Dartmouth Corsairs women's basketball team came in here and won by 7. But the men's team for UMass Dartmouth faces a much different monster in this, the UMass Boston Beacons. My name's Chris Del Sordo. I am joined by former Beacon Steve McGuire. Steve, first things first, how does it feel coming back into where you used to play and seeing the Beaks having a year like this?
It makes me really happy. You know, walking down on the floor during warm-ups, I automatically get hyped. My desire to get out on the floor and start doing warm-ups is really high, but it's just nice to see the team that I love and the school that I love doing so well.
Hey, I heard this. You called yourself a shooter in the first broadcast over here. Bit of a shooter's gym here in the Clark Gymnasium, isn't it?
It is. It's a great place to shoot. You know, I played with some fantastic players. Didn't get a lot of shots, but man, when I did, I sure had a good time with them.
Remembers it like the good, true glue guy. Didn't get a lot of shots. I remember it. I didn't get a lot, but I put him down when I got him. That's awesome, Steve. We'll take a look right now at the side-by-side statistics right here. And you talk about offense. The offense is clicking right now for the Beacons to the tune of 77.3 points per game. And it's been quite some time since they've scored less than 80 in a conference, make that 4 straight games.
It's impressive. Very impressive.
80 points allowed per game for the Corsairs of UMass Dartmouth. Listen, that doesn't bode well for you, for the Corsairs, because that's exactly what the Beacons want to do, is get up and down on you and give Malik Lorquette those opportunities to beat you in transition. And if they get to Malik Lorquette, well, then you have Xavier McKenzie driving the lane. You have Manny Zayas letting it rip from beyond the three-point line. All 5'8" of him just shooting it in people's eyes. It's a perfect offense the way it's constructed right now, and I think the stats prove it. The Beacons also getting 2.5 more rebounds per contest as well. The only thing that they trail in disparity is that three-point shooting percentage. In the Corsairs, they can really knock it down. You can't luck into 37.5 from beyond the arc. That's making 3 out of every.
Absolutely. There's skill involved in that. So, you know, it's nice to see the team that has an established big doing what you're supposed to do with an established big who's talented. You're playing around him like you're supposed to. It's great.
We'll take a quick look at our matchup to watch. We touched on it, and we're going to say his name as often as we possibly can because he truly is one of the best basketball players at the Division III level right now. One of just 3 players with double-figure doubles. He has 10. One other player has 10. There's one other player with 11. He can tie the nation high with a double-double tonight. He's gotten a double-double in 8 straight games, and he's averaging 1 this season. Malik Lorquette, what else can I say about the senior out of Sharon, Massachusetts?
Man, it's incredibly impressive. I got to play against him in an alumni game when he was a freshman.
Oh, tell this story real quick.
Yeah, so he was on a fast break. I had blocked a previous shot on somebody else, and he was running down full court. And Coach Harris almost tackled me as I was chasing him down because he didn't want the future of his franchise to get hurt, touched at all.
See, Coach Harris, he can predict the future. Even when he had a ripe 17-year-old Malik Lorquette, he knew you got to treat that man carefully.
Yep.
You got to treat him specially because he's something special out on the hardwood. And that was your one and only real playing time around Coach Harris.
Yeah.
Didn't get to play for him, but got to see him operate in the building. We're 8 years later now. What do you think about the job he's done with the program?
It was fantastic. You know, the first day at tryouts, I was watching him watch the people coming out for the team, and I knew he was going to be something special. He didn't play around. He required everybody on the team to work incredibly hard. And I just love to see it. I wish that I could have had 1 year with Jason Harris.
Taking a look at the players as they make their way to the floor for the Beacons. Real quick, let's touch on the player to watch for UMass Dartmouth, Dalen Sanders-Dyer. You talk about do it all. He's just like Jordan Moretti in the sense that he leads the team in scoring 17 points per contest, but he also leads the team in assists, averaging 3.5 assists per contest. The ball is always in Dalen Sanders-Dyer's hand, and it has been for quite a bit. This is his 5th year out of Worcester, Mass.
And it's good to see that. You know, if a player has that many points but also that many assists, he knows what happens when defense starts guarding him correctly. He knows how to pass the ball. It's good to see.
All right. It looks like the starting lineups have been announced. What we're going to do, we're going to take one last quick break. When we hop back in, we'll hop back into the action. The Beacons, 11-3 on the season, looking for win number 12 and looking for a 5-1 start in the LEC. Tip right after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network. Starting 5 on the floor for both teams here. It's Sanders, Dyer, Martins, and Urquhart. in the backcourt for the Corsairs, joined with Percy and Nick Boyd. That's Michael Erhardt, the 6'7" junior out of Pittsfield, Mass. Across from Lorquette, Malik wins it back, and the Beacons with the ball, vying for win number 12 and conference win number 5. Manny Zayas, Xavier McKenzie, Tommy Burris, Mariano Olivier Rodriguez, and Malik Lorquette, the 5 on the floor to start the game. And they go right to Mr. Double-Double, and he dips that shoulder in. Great defense staying home there by Urquhart, as you got to go to Malik early and often there, and he misses on the first shot of the contest. McKenzie, I talked about it real quick with you, Steve, that he's such a force on the perimeter. He forces that steal. Zayas tried to force that one over to Lorquette. It caroms all the way out to Burris. Down low to Lorquette. It's tipped by Urquhart, and it's last touch by Malik Lorquette.
Impressive steal. The way he was able to dance on that line and not fall out is really tough.
So 2 possessions, 2 very concerted efforts for the Beaks to get the ball inside to Malik Lorquette. Nothing doing, but very early going. But how about Xavier McKenzie? He barely let the Corsairs get it across the timeline before forcing the turnover. Backdoor cut on that play. It was a great pass from Nick Boyd, intended for John Martins Jr. Martins not ready for it. That was a good-looking backdoor feed.
Yeah, it was.
Nick Boyd, the team's 4th leading scorer. 2 of the bigger scorers on the contest, Jackson Zankin. He's the team's leading outside shooter, 2nd leading scorer. He comes off the bench along with Perry. Lorquette now 0 of 2 in the early going, as he thought he had the angle there, couldn't get it to fall, and Sanders Dyer with the rebound. Tried to force that one inside to Isaac Percy, and the true freshman drawing the foul underneath as the first foul of the contest committed by the true freshman Xavier McKenzie.
I like what the offense is doing on this side. It's, feeding Lorquette early, trying to get him going. Yeah, it's 2 misses, but it's 2 misses he got out of the way very early, so he get his rhythm going for the rest of the game.
Looks like that foul was on the shot, and so it's Isaac Percy. I called him a freshman. He's 6'3" junior out of Pittsfield, Massachusetts. He's heading to the free throw line. Team's 3rd leading scorer, averaging 11.5 points per contest in his junior year. Bends at the knee, first shot up, and it's short off the front iron. Well, if nothing else, I'll say it right now because of the game that we just watched. Different story, at least from the women's game, that you're not going to have to deal with the team going 16 for 16 from Jump Street at the line. But one more on the way here for Isaac Percy. That one is good. And so the first point of the contest scored by UMass Dartmouth. They take the 1-0 lead and quickly instill the full court trap. Lorquette helping out Zayas, quickly slips it inside to McKenzie. Corner 3 for Mariano. It's short. Rebound goes all the way back out to Olivier Rodriguez, and he slings it over to Manny Zayas. Burris sets the screen for Manny. Manny, step back, head fake, running jumper. That's a tough 2. He almost got the roll, but the Beacons now 0 of 4 from the floor to start this contest. Martins Jr. pulling it up at the free throw line, kicking it back out to Nick Boyd. He's a true freshman. Head fake, down low to Urquhart. Great defense on the backside, and Zayas does finish the job on the steal. McKenzie in transition, stopping, popping. He got it, and that's too easy. Mid-range jumpers, they're such an asset if you make them, right?
Absolutely.
It goes against your team if you keep shooting them and you miss them. But in terms of a true freshman for Xavier McKenzie to know how good that mid-range game is and not fear putting the shots up, and some great individual low-post defense there from Malik Lorquette, forces the traveling violation. So it was a slow start for the first minute and a half, but those last 2 possessions on offense and defense looked very good for UMass.
Yeah, Beacon's really high energy, and in terms of mid-range jump shots, they've faded from basketball these past couple years. But if you're talented at them and you're good at driving to the basket, that mid-range opens up a lot after the first.
It really changes all the options that you have for you after the first look, right,
Yeah.
of respecting the shot threat of a mid-range J. Malik Lorquette, he's got a lot of shots he can threaten you with. 0 for 3 now as the layup was there to be had, and he misses it short off the glass. Martins Jr., left wing 3 in rhythm, and he misses it long. Urquhart skying up, but Manny Zayas for the 2nd time today takes it away from the big man underneath. And now Manny, the sophomore out of Hollywood, Florida. Corner 3 coming for Burris, and he misses it short. Olivier Rodriguez fighting with Marcil, who just entered the contest. It's knocked out last touch by Marcil, and so it stays with the Beacons underneath.
Good driving feed.
Jaquan Leonard, team's 6th man out of Plymouth, Massachusetts. In his junior season, he's on as well for the Corsairs. So McKenzie, deep on the left wing now, asks for the pick. He won't get it. Instead, he'll take on the defender, and that one halfway down the cylinder, and out. Jaquan Leonard just checked into the contest there, was met with a tough task, and he was able to handle it admirably. Now Sanders Dyer over to John Marcil, to John Martins Jr. Driving around the circle, nothing there. Quick hands for McKenzie. He pokes it free. Zayas completes the steal. No look to McKenzie. Down the right wing. Wow, a nice little possession fake. And then he gets the right-handed layup up and hits. First 4 points in the contest belong to the freshman out of Lowell, Mass.
The defensive energy is through the roof right now. I love to see it. Even if the buckets aren't falling on the other side all the time, you can always bring it on defense.
And this is a young man in Xavier McKenzie, Steve, who has to be buzzing right now. He's coming off a career-high performance. Big three-ball hit there from Dalen Sanders Dyer, 17 points per game. You're going to have to deal with that. But 32 points in the last time out for Xavier McKenzie. You said, these were your words, that's hard to do.
That's incredibly hard to do.
32 points. So it's a man playing on top of his game right now. Zayas has been shooting the lights out so far this season. That one a bit of a forced look around 2 defenders. He misses short. And the first foray into the Beacons bench will be Bobby Joy coming on to spell Manny Zayas. Bobby Joy, a junior from the Cape out of Harwich, Massachusetts. And actually the team's 4th leading scorer right at 7 points per contest.
I did have a chance to see Bobby Joy in the home opener, and I really liked his tempo. He really stays calm and makes sure the offense is never rushing.
John Martins Jr., a beautiful backdoor cut, but great defense there from Joy. As Martins Jr. maybe just took a split second too long to put the shot up there. Joy pokes it away. That's the 3rd steal now for the Beacons. Xavier McKenzie, head fake, spin move, and he hits the floater. He's a freshman.
Yeah.
Got to keep reminding people that, so you're going to get plenty more of this, Beaconville. Settle in and enjoy it because you have Lorquette down low. You have Xavier up top. This could be a pretty big season here for the Beaks. That shot missed long for Marcil and stepped out of bounds there was Jaquan Leonard. So it was a slow start for the Beacons, but right now they're holding a 2-point lead and they get the ball back after a couple of big stops in a row.
Yeah, McKenzie is just playing with the utmost confidence right now. That spin move is something you do when you have some tricks in the bag and you're ready to show them to everybody here.
First media time out of the contest. 15:34 left on the first half clock. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with the score. The UMass Boston Beacons 6, the UMass Dartmouth Corsairs 4. More after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network, brought to you by LEC.TV.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking.
We rejoin the action here with the Beacons leading 6-4 in the early going. 6 early points from Xavier McKenzie. Wings a pass around to Tommy Burris. Mariano Olivier Rodriguez. 0 of 2 from the floor in the early going for Mariano. Here's Lorquette, 0 for 3, but wow, beautiful crossover. Tough angle. He went right-handed with that, Steve. I don't think he was supposed to, but he did.
It looked so easy that he just made an incredibly difficult play look very easy. It's incredible talent.
19.1 points per contest. And you got to know the onus here is getting another double-double to keep him in the top ranks nationally. And how about a block as well? But the ball finding its way over to Zankin. Zankin hits the deck, and Marcil ultimately gets out of there with a rebound. What a crazy play. Now a no-look pass. Urquhart for a second thought about the 3. He hands it off to Leonard. Leonard, that's a long 2, and that one in and out. Something about UMass Dartmouth launching these long shots that are just barely toes on the line. Lorquette thought about maybe driving the lane there, pulls it back, thinks better of it. He gets a pick from Burris, wings it across to McKenzie. Jab step, McKenzie has Lorquette down low, instead over to Mariano. Down low to Malik. Here we go, one-on-one against Urquhart. Spinning, drop step, goes through, and he did travel. Good call from the ref on the backside of that play there. Sometimes that happens when you're up against that offensive 3-second violation and you know, hey, it's put up or shut up time with the ball. Slid that pivot foot and it's a traveling violation. And Brian Baptiste, head coach in his 40th year at UMass Dartmouth. I'm sure you might even have some stories playing against this guy coaching on that opposite sideline. Quick bench today. We're already getting our second back look at Sanders Dyer and Nick Boyd. Urquhart, that's his second miss. Good-looking take right there, and he just couldn't finish with the left hand.
Yeah, Baptiste is the man who ended my college career at a playoff game at UMass Dartmouth. So
Lorquette off the feed from Joy through 2 defenders. He couldn't get that one to go. Malik now just 1 of 5 from the floor in the early going. A little frustration in the body language from Lorquette. Marcel gets cut off, kicks it all the way out to Sanders Dyer. He just hit from that spot. He misses that one short. Lorquette ahead to McKenzie. The Beacons with a 3-on-2. McKenzie skying up. That's a really late whistle. It looked like Sanders Dyer did all that he needed to do. Instead, it is a blocking foul against number 11, Dalen Sanders Dyer. It's his first, and it's the team's first, but it does send Xavier McKenzie, a very solid free throw shooter, to the line, shooting 2.
Yeah, sometimes when you both make an athletic play like that, you're both in the air. Sometimes you just let it go. And ref blew the whistle, gave us a little advantage, but we'll take it.
Here's the one upsetting thing is that the referee's going to remember that too. The coaches are going to remember that too. And so when does that call get made to kind of equal that back out? You just hope it's sooner rather than later on in the first half.
We don't want it late in the second half, but they always put it in their pocket and save one for later.
Just swapping the bench all the way around here is one more sub waiting to come on is Isaac Percy, who did start this contest. So 2 free throws coming for Xavier McKenzie, and that one in and out. The true freshman heading into this contest, 77% from the line. With the exception of his 3-point shooting up to this point, there's not really anything you can look at and talk about room for improvement. He's already coming in as a game day ready starter, and this is his first freshman year. He missed both just there, so hopefully I got that out of his way for the rest of this contest. But I really can't say enough about the performance out of this young man.
He's a
freshman from Lowell, Mass.
That blows my mind that a freshman is that accomplished already.
Back to the basket for Jackson Zankin. The shot to Urquhart, no good, so he's now 0 of 3 on the contest. Bit of a slower pace than the Beacons are used to, but they are holding a 4-point lead here, 6 minutes, 50 seconds into the contest. McKenzie, head fake. McKenzie feels the contact, and he draws the foul on Urquhart, and I believe that was credit to that just extra ability to float in the air that extra split second and not force the layup for Xavier McKenzie. He's back at the free throw line. He just missed 2, but he can get those 2 right back.
Yeah, hang time is a very tough thing to do as a defender. I used to come over across help, and if somebody could hang in the air, all my timing was off.
Now, could you only imagine if you would have come into the college game now in 2023, and you really probably wouldn't have had to worry about that. They would have had you out there at stretch 3.
It would have been nice to be running around and not been there banging with the big fellas, but...
Well, I tell you what, Malik Lorquette, probably similar height-wise to you, and he's playing the traditional low-post spot better than guys that are 6'8", 6'9" at this level, which is just terrifying, honestly, to think about it.
It's the combination of speed and strength. Not only is he really strong, but he's faster than everybody else, too. You can't really guard him.
Boyd stops on a dime, kicks it out deep in the corner to Zankin. Zankin over to Percy. Percy on the deck. Percy jump stop, spin shot. Misses long. Everybody up there for the board, and it's Ike Alua coming down with it, seeing his first minutes off the bench for the Beaks. Joy picked up his dribble, probably a second too early. He got it to burst. Back to Joy. Left-handed drive, and it's good. Wow, Isaac Percy read that beautifully for the Corsairs, and Bobby Joy just hit it over.
Crossbody floater, that is a tough shot. Really nicely done.
We talked about, in the women's game, Jordan Moretti for UMass Dartmouth really just emptying her bag of tricks. It's a player that's showing off a big bag of tricks right there.
Absolutely.
Percy gets fronted by Joy, gets all the way inside to the block, ducks the head down, can't get the shot to fall, and the ball is tipped from Burris to McKenzie. The Beacons, brick wall on defense. UMass Dartmouth hasn't scored for the past 5.5 minutes.
Yeah, the energy is through the roof. The switches are going fast. The pressure's high.
McKenzie can't give him that shot. He misses it long, though, and Olivier Rodriguez dives too far in for the rebound. It caroms all the way out to Nick Boyd. Here's Boyd, the true freshman. Played his high school ball in Portland, Oregon, same town as Sabela Jensen. Oh, up and under, and that's Urquhart. Solid player, averaging 11 points per night. Technically just the team's 4th leading scorer, but an 11.8 rebound a night getter. And that was a very textbook low post move and a good finish. 6'7" player, good looking player down low.
Yeah, absolutely. Faking the jump hook, coming around for a layup. It's very nice.
Olivier Rodriguez was able to keep his toe off the line, but misses that one a hair long, and back the other way is Boyd. Sanders Dyer, an open 3, and he misses that one long, but he gets to it and dribbles it right off his foot. Wow, Jackson Zankin created the lane for that rebound to get had, and instead, Sanders Dyer didn't corral the ball. He kept his momentum going. Probably the right thing to do to get a layup, but he ends up dribbling off his foot and just going too fast.
Yep, a little little rushed, but you can tell he's the workhorse of the team. He's doing a lot of stuff right now.
Beacon's defense looking phenomenal in the early going. The offense, a bit of a slower start than expected. But as we hit this media timeout, Beacon's still leading by 6. 11:13 left to go in the first half. We'll take a break with the score. Beacon's 12, Corsairs 6. More after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network.
In their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Passion's love.
The 5-campus
Rejoining the action here, 11:13 on the clock. Beacon's holding a 6-point lead in the early going. Xavier McKenzie, a spark start to the scoring here. Malik Lorquette, Bobby Joy, each with a couple of baskets to carry the Beacons as they hold this 6-point lead. Ike Alua with 1 rebound already tonight. He peels it back out to Manny Zayas. And the Beacons going around the perimeter with a 4-out look, it seems like. Olivier Rodriguez hands it off to Manny Zayas. Zayas over to Lorquette. Running floater, that was a tough spot. Malik not shy about getting his shots up tonight. I'm not sure if that was the best shot he had on that possession. And Malik now 1 of 6 from the floor. Still 31 minutes left in this game, Steve. But is that something to be focusing in on right now, Malik's slow start on the floor?
Yeah, the rhythm usually comes naturally. It feels like he's forcing the issue a little bit right now. That's a pretty deep floater. But, I mean, the man is incredibly talented. It's gonna turn around here shortly.
That one is good from 3 for John Martins Jr. He just missed one from that same spot short. That one rattled it on home, and this is a player in John Martins Jr. who is starting his 10th game of the season, started the first 4 games on the bench, and has earned his starting spot this year, and you can see why with a left wing 3 like that. Zayas, fake the pass down low, kicks it over to Alua. Alua, was almost able to kind of successfully fail into splitting that double team, and he did ultimately lose the ball. And kind of handed to UMass Dartmouth. This is a team that defensive, just like the women's team, it's not their nature. They have to get up and down to be able to play with you and stay in these contests. But right now, just battening down the hatches, crossing their T's, dotting their I's, and keeping the Beacons at bay. UMass Boston, up to this point, shooting just 35% from the floor, and they probably weren't expecting that to be the case heading into this. As Sanders Dyer, another bucket, wind him up and let him get going, and you can't have that happen. And so 5 straight for UMass Dartmouth. They're back to within 1.
Dartmouth really punching above their weight class right now. They're kind of doing everything right and keeping Malik contained.
Great low post defense there from Michael Urquhart. We've seen that probably 3 times now down low where it's just been one-on-one and 31, 3 inches taller than Lorquette. He's been up to the task.
Yeah, he's not doing anything special. He's just being big. He's just guarding them by being big.
Marcil over to Urquhart to Sanders Dyer. Back over to Boyd for deep 3, and that one just in and out. That could have put UMass Dartmouth up 2. The rebound hauled in by Olivier Rodriguez. Zayas, quick throw over to Alua, hanging, can't hit, gets his own rebound, puts it up, misses that one long, and then Urquhart again tracks down the rebound. You have to think the rebounding advantage at this point belongs to the Corsairs. Urquhart gets the inside pass. He's blocked by Lorquette, who is just out of bounds. That would have been a play for the highlight reel if he kept that one in. But UMass Dartmouth with the game's last 5 points, now with the inbounds underneath and a chance to take this lead right back.
Yeah, one-hand block to a one-hand save would have been very impressive. But, Dartmouth is doing everything right now.
Marcil gets around the defense, slides it over to Urquhart, who goes for the dunk and misses. Eric Donaldson, the freshman from Vermont, just checks in, and he used his 6'8 frame to alter that shot. Now Donaldson offering the high ball screen to Zion. Manny goes between the legs, looks to his right, he'll swing it over to McKenzie. Donaldson offering the screen, rolls off of it. McKenzie keeps it himself. That's a tough runner from deep out. Great job boxing out on the play by Jaquan Leonard. And his outlet pass goes ahead to Marcil. Down low to Martins Jr. And oh wow, Donaldson was the player on defense, a little late on the rotation, but affects it once again with that height just enough, and reaches out and gets the rebound. So the Beacons playing with fire here, but it's been 3 possessions and the Corsairs haven't been able to overtake that 12-11 deficit. This is huge, and it's off. Wow, Zayas looked good, misses it to the left. That would have been big, and instead UMass Dartmouth, the 4th straight chance to take this lead with a 12-11 score. Urquhart keeps it off the fake, drives right around Donaldson. He'll learn that's a freshman. He watched the ball a little too long, and it let Urquhart spin right into that layup, and it gives UMass Dartmouth their second lead of the contest since it was 1-0.
Really smooth move. Kept it in his left hand the whole time and away from the defender. Smart move from a big man.
4 points for Urquhart, and he's looked rather impressive doing it up to this point as well down low. McKenzie gets the screen from Donaldson, probes in. Hezzy pulls it up. He almost got that one to go through the contact. Urquhart's going to get whistled for the foul. He can't believe it, but that sends Xavier McKenzie 2 of 4 on the stripe tonight to the line to shoot 2. After we return from this media timeout real quick, that is the 2nd personal foul against Michael Urquhart. Look up at the scoreboard. Only see 12 points next to the Beacon's name. You know that they averaged mid-70s coming into action tonight. Your Coach Harris here. You have Malik Lurquette. Looks like he's lined up to go back into the contest here, but he's 1 of 7 for. You keep focus on Malik at this point. You let maybe Xavier kind of keep doing this drive and kick game that he's working with, or do you go a different direction?
I think you might work through Malik one more time. What's happening now is there's this mid-range floater game going on right now. There's been 2 or 3 of them. They're bad shots. It's too far away for a floater. There's not enough confidence in that shot. So we need something to be definitive.
We've seen those out of both Lurquette and Xavier McKenzie.
Yes.
Now, to be fair, those are saved for one Bobby Joy bucket, the only 2 players generating offense right now for the Beacons. But it just seems like shot selection, I'm going to try and present this as best I can. It's not like shot selection is normally the first thing that gets talked about with this Beacons team. Now, that's not a bad thing. It's just they aren't hyper vigilant about ensuring that best shot. It's we have the athleticism, we have the players, put the shot up, and then we can go from there if we like what we see.
Yeah, sometimes
this is bad shot selection. I mean, they're like the past 6 possessions. Sorry, Coach Harris. Sorry, everybody listening in. You got to call it like it is. I'll be the one to say it. My name's Chris. You can write. It's been bad shot selection the past 5 minutes of this game, and pardon me, kind of playing with your food in this game that you kind of came in knowing what it was, and he led a team with the head coach in his 40th season head coaching. He can out X's and O's in a game like that.
When you have hyper athletic teams, sometimes you need to put some constraints on it, make them run for something a little more strict for a couple plays to get their confidence back in the shot, and then go back to the really athletic stuff that we can get away with.
McKenzie does get the bounce, so he's now 3 of 6 from the charity stripe on the night. He leads everybody with 9 points now. 9 points, and yet just 13 in the first 12.5 minutes. We're still knotted up here in a very tight contest at the Clark Athletic Center. Backdoor pass wasn't quite there for Flauto. He sets the screen now for Boyd, and now here's Ryan Flauto at the top of the key. Hands it off to Nick Boyd. Boyd, a very talented-looking freshman. He had Martins, and John Martins Jr. just smoked that layup. That's a big break for the Beacons. Zayas pushing the tempo, feels the contact from Martins, has Lurquette underneath, who got it and won, and maybe that's what Malik Lurquette needed to get back on a roll, but hand it to Manny Zayas for making that play happen.
Yeah, that's what you need when you're a big man. You need a nice little and one. Watch the ball go through the basket on a free throw. Changes the momentum. I like to see that. Wait for a point guard to find his big man and give him an easy bucket.
This is almost hard. Both 5 of 22 from the field at this point, which puts both teams at 21% from the floor. Nobody would have had that as the clip heading into this point of the contest. Malik Lurquette, there you go, knocks it down and does complete the 3-point play. Nice to see Malik has upped his free throw shooting numbers. That actually puts him at over 60% on the season.
That's
now.
Huge, yeah.
He came into action at 59.6%, so I'm knocking on wood as I say that, but that's nice to see out of Mr. Lurquette. Martins Jr., he's had the ball a lot these past couple of minutes. Around the perimeter they go. Marcil to Jaquan Leonard. Leonard around Joy. Stops, nothing to be had. Spinning, still nothing. Urquhart working against Lurquette. Trying to get some space. This is going to be a shot clock violation. Right in front of the referee. Phenomenal low post defense from Malik Lurquette. And he got some help with Tommy Burris on the perimeter. That's a big forced stop. And yes, the Beacons offensively lackluster. Defensively playing their A game tonight.
Very high. And that's a mismatch for sure. 31. Great basketball player, very solid big man, but coming up against Malik is just very mismatched.
Bobby Joy No screen there from Burris. Let's see if he sets one for X. No, instead, X left-handed dribble drive. Couldn't find a shot. Lorquette could. High off the glass. It goes too far. That one's knocked out of bounds by Urquhart and will stay with the Beacons. Either underneath or side out. They should get a good look into the post if they want it from this spot. Martins Jr. comes off. We'll get another look at Isaac Percy. Kind of even minutes across the board for this rotation that UMass Dartmouth is using. Lorquette got around Urquhart that time. What a finish! He didn't even use glass. He's just playing with him out there, Steve. How do you do that? You're a big man. Tell us how that's done.
Well, I can't do it, so I can't teach you any ways to do it.
I can tell you guys how great it looked. It looked phenomenal. It's 6 points now for Lorquette. Urquhart goes right back at him, though, and this is man on man as Michael Urquhart up for the challenge. The junior out of Pittsfield, Mass. A lot of Western Massachusetts talent on this UMass Dartmouth team. Urquhart, fourth leading scorer coming into action, looking good down low. Lorquette goes right back at him. He goes, I'll raise you one-on-one, and he commits not the best foul in the basketball book underneath the hoop right there, right in front of the ref. A bit of a wry smile out of the referee as he, I got to call it.
Yep.
Once again, though, and this seems to be a theme with men's, they very much will let you play your game. They don't really accumulate fouls.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be a foul going the other way against UMass Dartmouth, I was going to say, and so just 2 fouls committed in the first half up to this point by UMass Boston. One by Zayas, one by Lorquette. That foul committed by Leonard, his first. 5 fouls committed by UMass Dartmouth. And nobody with more than one person foul yet. That's nice to see. Once again, we like doing that dance. We don't want anybody to get disqualified.
No, we want it to be a fair matchup all the way to the end.
Manny Zayas gets a double screen here, and he gets around 2 defenders, and he just misses the layup long. He was trying to drive that one past a 6'5" John Marcil. He got around him. He didn't get it over him. Marcil almost lost it. He gets it back to Urquhart. And now here's Nick Boyd. Boyd, the team's 4th leading scorer, 8 points per contest. Over to Leonard. Back to Boyd. Zayas fronting him. He got around him. Great defense there from Zayas. He knocks it off the quadricep of Boyd, and that'll go out of bounds off the Corsairs. Once again, it's not as if these are the most impressive shutdown defensive stops. The Beacons are getting the stops that you need to get front.
Yeah, and it looks like they're really trying to feed the big man inside, but they just don't feel confident throwing the pass with Malik down there. They don't really know what to do.
It's funny looking at Beacons at the bench and at the roster as it's printed. 17 men on this roster, but it's really just a 7, sometimes 8-man rotation right now. And it's funny seeing that when this game was getting started, it was all Xavier, and Malik kind of had a slow start, and you go, where do you go next right now? And it'll be interesting to see as Malik, this is another shot, but he gets his rebound back. We'll hold the thought on that, but another miss underneath. And Malik, got to keep that chin up if you're Mr. Lorquette, because those opportunities are going to stay there all night long.
Persistence, man. Persistence is key in this one.
Percy almost lost his pivot foot. He kept it, and they get it out to Sanders Dyer deep in the left corner. Pardon me. This is Dalen Sanders Dyer. Left-handed dribble drive around McKenzie. Was able to wing it over to Urquhart. Straight on 3 for Boyd. He misses that one just short, and the rebound hauled in by Lorquette. 4th rebound of the contest for Malik. Xavier McKenzie now. Peeling it back. He had a Tommy Burris screen. Thought better of it. Now Malik comes over, he offers it. McKenzie gets bumped off. It opens up Joy. Right wing 3, and he got it. Drano for Bobby Joy as he was able to step into that one. It puts him over 40% on the season. He is 16 of 30 on the year, and now he gets a board. Let's see if he can do it himself. Bobby Joy dicing around Leonard, and he peels it back out, and we'll reset.
What a phenomenal shot, just finding the open spot and hitting it in stride while moving sideways is tough.
That's another lateral movement shot. It goes long. Lorquette with the rebound, and the ball gets knocked out of his hands on the way up. That looked to be an easy lay, and luckily it's not out off Malik, but 19 to shoot for the Beacons when we come back from this media timeout. 3:28 left to go in the first half. The Beacons, they've been holding the lead. They're still holding the lead. Probably not as big of a lead as they would like to see. But 3:28 left to go in the first half. Beacons 21, Corsairs 15. More after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network.
The university that educates the workforce of Massachusetts. We recognize that we are truly here for a reason, and that recognition inspires us and drives us every single day.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
I believe sportsmanship is it's a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting line, we look at each other as fellow humans.
We'll rejoin the action here inside the Clark Athletic Center. The Beacons with the basketball underneath. Just a 3 of 13 start from the floor for Malik Lurquette. He's helped out now from the 3 of 6 performance by Xavier McKenzie. That pass by Xavier McKenzie almost to no one, but it ultimately gets corralled by Mariano. And now here's X deep in the left corner. Fronted by Dalen Sanders Dyer. Crossover. Step back from Xavier. That's a high degree of difficulty shot, and the roll not to be had, and Urquhart gets another tough rebound. And here's Sanders Dyer ahead for the Corsairs. Down low to Percy. That's a great feed, and a nice finish for the junior out of Pittsfield, Mass, Isaac Percy. Hey, the Corsairs not saying quit tonight. And that's a strong defensive performance by Urquhart underneath that led to the run out and the bucket. Lurquette going to try again, and he hits there. 4 of 14 now on the night. Got to hand it to Malik, keeping his wits about him, wanting the ball, attacking the hoop, knowing where his lanes are, and finishing nice and easily with the right hand. He's up to 8 points now to go along with 5 boards.
Smarts to change it up and put your face to the basket as opposed to playing in the post and just trying something different.
Boyd just dribbling the air out of the basketball there, trying to get some room on the shot. He misses it long, but Leonard open from the corner, and he misses that one short. Great board from Percy over Alua, and he spins and hits. And Isaac Percy now with 6 points, 2 in the last minute. He's the new player to watch against this UMass Dartmouth offense.
That was a great offensive board and a really good finish. Got to put a body on him. He has a lot of energy right now.
Alua at the shining light of the Beacon logo, spins, mid-range jumper, and once again, these are some tough mid-range jumpers. We talked about they're good when you take smart ones. Not sure what Ike wanted on that. He didn't get it. Percy with the ball, hands it off to Sanders Dyer. Go for it.
There's been a lot of off-balance and fadeaway shots from mid-range, and that's not what we're looking for. Mid-range shots are best when your opponent's on their back, on their heels, moving backwards, not when you're moving backwards.
John Martins Jr. back into the contest for the Corsairs, and so we'll reset the court. It's John Martins Jr., Nick Boyd, Michael Urquhart, Isaac Percy, and the player to watch, Dalen Sanders Dyer. The 5 that have probably seen the most minutes collectively on the floor right now for the Corsairs. Playing a good team game. Sanders Dyer misses that one short, but that's because he got fouled. Foul committed by Isaiah McKenzie. That looks to be his second. He's not happy with the call. He heads over to the referee, maybe trying to see if he can get a quick word with the referee on the shot. It happened right in front of him, though, so you're not going to get away with it if it is a foul that close to the ref.
Yeah, they don't miss it that close.
Sanders Dyer leading the team in every category. Not the best free throw shooter, just 57% heading into action tonight, but he does hit the first. His numbers very impressive. Started 12 of the 13, make it 13 of the 14 now games for the team on the season. He's played more minutes than anyone by 45 minutes. He's made more threes than anyone by 10 threes. He's just that player, Mr. Do-It-All for the Corsairs. He misses there. That's rebound number 6. And even in a slow first half for Malik Lurquette, that's now 8 points and 6 rebounds, just like that on a quiet night.
Yeah, consistency.
Beacon's only up by 1 possession still. It's a 3-point lead. Zayas. Lurquette opting to set the pick. Zayas almost traveled and almost threw it away, and he does ultimately throw it away. Not quite sure the plan on that play there. Joy ducks his shoulder down. Lucky break for the Beacons there as Sanders Dyer was the last one to touch it. And bluntly, that was a play that the Beacons really didn't deserve to get the ball back on, but sometimes that's just how the bounces go, and you kind of owe the basketball gods a better possession on this play.
Yeah, you know, baseline drive, you can't all run away from him. Somebody has to stay in that corner for an outlet.
Zayas now nearing the 1-minute mark left in the first half. Beacons holding this 3-point lead. Around the perimeter they go. Oh, great shimmy there by Olivier Rodriguez. Almost too wide for Bobby Joy. We're at the 1-minute mark now. Joy spinning. Joy working on Boyd. Kicks it out to Mariano. Head fake. Over to Lurquette. Lurquette puts it on the deck. That one's knocked off of Lurquette by Urquhart. Michael Urquhart, pretty solid numbers in terms of he got 6 points. He's got 5 rebounds, but what a job he's doing against Malik Lurquette underneath.
A lot of double downs, a lot of active hands. It seems like Lorquette's having a hard time keeping it in his hands tonight.
Here's Boyd, the freshman, over to Sanders Dyer, the fifth-year player. Opposite ends of the spectrum there, working together for the Corsairs. 13 to shoot. Great read there from Bobby Joy. Urquhart hits the deck, and that's going to be a jump ball. Possession arrow will keep it with UMass Dartmouth, but just 10 to shoot for the Corsairs as the Beacons. Golden opportunity there to get the ball back and ensure a halftime lead and maybe even a 5 or 6 point halftime lead. Now you still have to D up hard for the next 10 seconds and then worry about your next possession still. They look at Percy underneath on the block, working on Lorquette, spinning. Malik cuts him off. Nothing there. 5 to shoot. It's a straight on 3 for Martins Jr. He misses everything. That's out of bounds. And so the Beacons do get that stop that will turn off the shot clock and lead to them having the final possession of the first half.
Really good defense. Really good way to step into that three-pointer without going under him and undercutting him.
We have Burris and McKenzie coming onto the floor for the Beaks. Zayas running the point with 23 to shoot and no shot clock here. So let's see what the Beaks have drawn up, what Coach Harris has in mind. Zayas takes it across the timeline now with 15 to shoot. Burris setting the left side screen. Tommy had it at the top of the key if he wanted the shot. Opts to go down low to Lorquette. Malik bending his body to get the angle on the shot, and he misses front iron. You just don't see misses like that out of Malik. Burris on the back end. That's a hard foul. It's a foul Burris needed to commit, though, to stop the Percy layup. You got to think the Corsairs bench probably didn't like that. The optics, not the best. Up higher above the floor, we could see how that one was developing, but nothing more than a common foul for Tommy Burris, and that's nice because it looks like it'll get you to halftime up front. Still some free throws and some action after the shot to come for UMass Dartmouth, and actually, we're not in the bonus at all yet, and so this will just be a baseline inbound. So the Corsairs do have a chance to get a shot off, get this one tied going into half. I wouldn't have anticipated that.
Not at all.
Coming into action tonight. It's Boyd on the inbound. He has Martins Jr. in the right corner. He gets it to Sanders Dyer, who that one is tipped at the buzzer. Don't count the tip in. Great defense from Mariano Olivier Rodriguez getting a tip block on that final shot. And well, Steve, you can't get mad when you're leading at halftime, but you can get a little frustrated at how this game played out. Score at halftime, the UMass Boston Beacons 23, the UMass Dartmouth Corsairs 20. We'll take a quick break, compile the first half stats for you, get our thoughts together, and we'll come back with a little first half summary after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network.
Competitors being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris, the subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown, and it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey, and that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments you never forget.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny nail-biting kind. These are the last a-lifetime kind.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
I just wanted to get good grades and
to do well, but it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
You're there to get a full college experience, not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that, and it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us to succeed.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school, it's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
My greatest personal discovery has been that I am capable of doing things that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
To be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Cheer for the stumbles. That he should have had that. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
The University of Massachusetts Boston, with its scenic oceanfront campus, easily accessible to downtown Boston, is recognized as a model of excellence for urban public universities. 16 NCAA Division III sports are part of the more than 100 student organizations that create an engaging campus life in America's biggest and best college town. UMass Boston, Boston's urban public research university for the 21st century.
We're back here at the Clark Athletic Center. Chris Del Sordo, Steve McGuire, and Steve, the goal in any basketball game is getting to the locker room at halftime with the lead. Well, the Beacons have the lead, but it's 23-20. And as we look at the halftime numbers, a lot that Coach Harris is probably covering in the locker room right now. They have the advantage shooting, but just barely. 26% to the Corsairs' 25, 20% from beyond the arc to UMass Dartmouth's 17. What that is, though, 1 of 5 versus 1 of 6. Just doing some math for you folks right there. 57% from the line for the Beacons, which is technically better than the 50 from the Corsairs, but you can't ignore the 30-21 rebounding advantage for UMass Dartmouth, and it all goes to number 31, Mike Urquhart. Double digits in boards already, and not just double digits, 14 rebounds up to this point. He's single-handedly shutting Malik Lorquette down to an extent.
Yeah, he's eliminating a lot of second chance points. Lorquette missing just a little bit, like, soft misses, but zero chance to get those rebounds and put a shot back up.
Malik Lorquette, Xavier McKenzie leading the Beacons with 9 points apiece. Two very different stories, though. McKenzie, 3 of 6 from the floor, 3 of 6 from the line. Lorquette, 4 of 15 from the field right now. Bobby Joy providing a spark off the bench. He's been 2 of 3 for 5 points here. Well, what's the onus? Do you keep trying to get it to Lorquette even though he's 4 of 15, or is it going to have to be somebody else tonight?
I think it's going to have to be somebody else, at least in the standpoint of trying to force it through Malik. We have to get him points. The best points I've seen him get are when he's catching it at the elbow and having a lane with it while he's facing the basket. Back to the basket stuff is tough against a big, solid big man on the other end.
We'll take a quick look around the Little East Conference here. Yesterday night, Huge game as the number 4 nationally ranked Keene State College Owls keep their good season going, beating the ECSU Warriors by 12. That was a final score probably closer than many people following the Owls anticipated. They really like to get up and down the floor. Held to just 70, but a 12-point win nonetheless. Action tonight, the WestCon Wolves continuing their hot start. They win by 36 at Rhode Island College, 91-55. And then a surprising score right now as Plymouth State leading Castleton by 18 with 15 minutes left to go in the second half. And so that's the action around the Little East Conference. We have some hockey action to show you. The men in a wild contest against Castleton University. A big win. A lot of goals to watch. We have it for you coming up shortly here on the Beacon Broadcasting Network.
On the road, a big New England Hockey Conference matchup. Beacon's looking to move to 3-4 in conference play and ride a 4-game win streak into Saturday afternoon after starting the year 2-8. It'll be all Beacons in this one in the second period. 4 goals in the span of just about 5 minutes. Devin Moran kicking it off with his first goal of the season, and Mike Manzo, Pat Keegan throwing it in front to him. Manzo redirects it home past Brandon Collette, UMass Boston, up 2-0. And then just about a minute later, Jacob Banks, Keegan once again throwing it in front, and Banks finds it, falling away from the goal, gets it by Collette. And the Beacons in control of this one, 3-0, but they weren't done. Evan Googans, who had a big weekend at the Codfish Bowl tournament, his third of the season. Devin Moran finds Blake Coleman, who finds Googans right at the top of the circle, and he snipes it home. Makes it 4-0 UMass Boston. The Spartans would look to respond as you see Jackson Kobelka with his second goal of the season on a pass from Bryce Irwin. Gets it by senior goalie Sam Best. Cuts into the Beacon lead. It's now 4-1. But Best standing tall in goal and leading the Beacons to some offensive opportunities. You see Best making a save right here, and at least the Clay Benkauskas coming the other way in a one-on-one situation. But Brandon Collette stands tall in net. The Beacon lead still at 3. And then a power play goal once again for the Spartans. Brandon Picard is going to get this one to go past Best. And just like that, the UMass Boston lead is down to just 2, 4-2 now at this point. However, Evan Googans extending the Beacon lead back up to 3. A power play goal, his 4th this season. Andy Walker wins the faceoff. Alex Duncan finds Googans, his 4th goal in the last 3 games for UMass Boston. They're in control 5-2. And then a pair of shorthanded goals in the third period for UMass Boston. Ryan Bogan, his first goal of the season after Davis Browning's initial shot, makes it 6-2 UMass Boston as time is winding down. Corey Clifton, his third of the season, his third in the last 3 games, makes it 7-2, which is the final score for your UMass Boston Beacons, who are riding a 4-game win streak. Sam Best with 36 saves in net for UMass Boston. A big day in net for him. And UMass Boston now has recorded 3+ goals in 4 straight games and 4+ goals in 3 straight games after being shut out in 3 consecutive games. And this one is a big win for them as they move to 3-4 in conference play. And they take on Skidmore College in another big NEHC matchup scheduled for 4:00 p.m. on Saturday afternoon.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Passion's love.
The 5-campus UMass system is the university that educates the workforce of Massachusetts. We recognize that we are truly here for a reason, and that recognition inspires us and drives us every single day.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
I believe sportsmanship is it's a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
And we are back here at the Clark Athletic Center. Chris Del Sordo, Steve McGuire, your UMass Boston Beacons looking for their 12th win of the season and their 5th straight conference win to start the season. And they didn't get off to the best start in the first half. They were leading 23-20. We want to talk about bright spots real quick. Mike Urquhart, the big bright spot for UMass Dartmouth, 6 points, 14 rebounds on 3 of 7 shooting underneath. And then Xavier McKenzie leading the way for the Beaks, 9 points on 3 of 6 shooting. Lorquette with 9 and 6, but a quiet first half by his standards. Back on the ball are the Beaks, and it's Xavier McKenzie tied for the team high with 9 points, working against fellow freshman Nick Boyd. Boyd holds his ground there, pops it free for McKenzie. McKenzie right back to work with the crossover. Difficult hanging shot, but the follow-up is good. Mariano Olivier Rodriguez, he has a knack for those offensive boards, and you saw him get a big one right there, Steve.
If the Bigs can't pull him down, you got to crash from the outside.
That shot short and tipped. Another rebound for Olivier Rodriguez. That's huge. Burris with the touch. Olivier Rodriguez with the pull down. Mariano now 5 rebounds in this contest. Zayas picked up his dribble at a rather weird spot. He hands it off to Xavier. 15 to shoot for the freshman out of Lowell. Left-handed dribble. Feels the double team. Has Lorquette on the right block. And a big contest there from Urquhart. And for just the second time, a whistle blown against big number 31. Malik Lorquette, he doesn't seem off-put by that slow start shooting, and the tough defense from number 31, Mike Urquhart, went right back at him again. And part of me, 3rd personal foul against Urquhart, so that's a good spot all of a sudden for the Beacons find themselves in 59 seconds into the half.
That's big, trying to make a statement coming out of the half. I really like that.
Malik hit his both the first half, so 3 of 3 now from the stripe. We talked about the first one he made put him over 6% on the year. Really nice to see that number continue to climb. You remember last year, Malik was really kind of stuck at the 48-49 mark, flirted with 50, didn't end the season at 50. So if he were to end this season above 60, that is one heck of an improvement and one that cannot just be written off.
Yeah, it's huge.
You win by making your free throws. Making your free throws get you the points that win the game. But allowing an easy layup to John Martins Jr. like that, certainly how you can lose a contest, and that's the second bucket for John Martins Jr., the senior out of Taunton. Lorquette, wow, what a pretty move there. He spun through 2 Corsairs, and it has to force the foul from Jackson Zankin. Didn't see many minutes in the first half. He's on the floor right now, and he's right into the stat book with a personal foul. And Malik Lorquette, Love to see that. Right back into it in this second half.
Yeah, sometimes when you've been held to a couple of points by a really good defender, they foul out. It's a surge of energy. It's like almost like going on a run for yourself. So he has a new defender, a little bit smaller of a guy. He's going to attack him and see what he can get taken care of while his previous defender sits on the bench.
12 points now for Lorquette. Make it 13, and Malik Lorquette, folks, 5 of 5 from the charity stripe. Remember that. Beacons up 7. That's actually, Steve, tied for their largest lead of the contest. It never got past 7 in the first half, and so let's see the defense battening down in these first couple of minutes here. Beacons starting the second half, running 7-2 run. Martins Jr., he just hit a bucket, misses that one. Burris skies up and grabs the rebound. You had 4 Beacons at a beautiful spot to haul in that board. You love to see that. And the ball right back to Malik. Now he's working on Zankin, and he stepped out of bounds. Great thought there from Lorquette. I think you were probably about to say the same thing. He had the pass he wanted, just couldn't keep those big feet in bounds.
Yeah, you can tell he's being much more aggressive. He has a smaller defender. He's hyped. He likes the fact that he gets to go off now.
Zankin is that aforementioned defender. Looked like he was going to come out and set a screen. Instead, it's Olivier Rodriguez one-on-one with Sanders Dyer to Martins Jr. in the corner. Head fake for Sanders Dyer. He got around Mariano, but he stopped. Spinning. That is a difficult turnaround, Jay, and almost drops in and out. Another board for Malik. He might already be at his double-double now, Steve. I believe that's his 8th rebound, so getting close. Zayas, jab, step. Wow, drives right behind Jackson Zankin. Rebound goes right back to him. Blocked on the shot once again. 2 rebounds in 20 seconds for Zayas. Dives on it, and that one's touched while out of bounds by Martins Jr., so it will stay with the Beacons. Heady play there for Emmanuel Zayas. Don't like seeing that shot get blocked, but he laid it all on the line to keep the possession in the Beaks' hand.
They did it smart, too. No fouls, no timeouts wasted. It's really good, really well done.
Ball back in the hands of the sophomore out of Hollywood, Florida. Percy reaching in there and just kind of jarring that ball loose, knocking it out. All of a sudden, it's like you blinked and you would have missed it. The Beacons down to 8 on the shot clock here. Side out. He can't let this play take all that long to develop, so they go right to Lorquette. He feels the double team. 5 to shoot, but he's going to back into Jackson Zankin. Tough shot. Touch off the back rim, no good, but Zayas wide open for 3, and he got it. Nothing but nylon for Emmanuel Zayas. That's what he's out there to do, shooting 49.8 coming into this contest, so he'll be flirting with 50%. That's on the season, Steve.
That's brutal. That's fantastic shooting.
Phenomenal job, and he's really ratcheted that up. Was about a 30% shooter from beyond the arc last year, but that was playing 6-man minutes behind the 2 Mitchell twins. All of a sudden, it's his offense to run, and you can see a player really coming into his own in his second year in Emmanuel Zayas. Slow start today, but that is a giant 3. First double-digit lead of the contest for the Beaks, and they force a turnover right there. And so we talked about it. It seemed like the thing would be, well, don't worry, Coach Harris is going to yell at them a lot in the locker room and figure this out. And it's obviously, folks, it's never that simple, but that really feels like what we are watching happen right now here. This is a team that woke itself up in the locker room.
It was a gut check in the locker room, spearheaded by Coach Harris. He was not having any of that nonsense.
Nice defense on the play by Dalen Sanders Dyer there. Forces it out of bounds. It will stay with the Beacons, but Xavier McKenzie finding a bit tougher go of it than he had in the first half.
Yeah.
Well, Mike Urquhart, he has 3 fouls, but he's been the one player to keep the Beacons offense at bay. So they're going to put him back out there with those 3 personal fouls, but he's got to stay careful around Malik Lorquette, and 1 + 1 = 2. That's what happens when you can't defend Malik Lorquette to the 100% intensity you need to. Easy, easy bucket for 24.
Yep, and making it a point to do it really quickly as soon as off the inbounds is just exactly what needed to be done.
Olivier Rodriguez almost tipped that one free. Boyd was able to jump on it in time. It's Marcel driving in from the baseline. Keeps the pivot foot down. Martins Jr. short on the 3. Wow, that was Sanders Dyer wrestling that one out of the hands of Lorquette, but the 2 putbacks missed by the Corsairs. Urquhart gets his 3rd board on this possession, puts it on the deck, and Burns steals it. And here comes Zayas, has McKenzie, slides it through to X, who lays it in for 2. Burris with the play, Zayas with the pass, X with the finish. That is team basketball right there.
Way to slow it down, run at full speed. Way to hit the brakes, make everybody run past you, and then hand it off to your teammate.
Well, all of a sudden, the Beacons, their biggest lead of the contest, they have started the second half on a 13-2 run. We'll take a break. 15:51 left to go, and the Beacons all of a sudden up 14. It's 36-22. More after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network.
And I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris, the subway, A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown. And it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey. And that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments you never forget.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny nail-biting kind. These are the lifestyle.
It is a 13-2 run for the Beacons as they start this second half with a bang.
Yep.
And Mike Urquhart still out there with his 3 personal fouls. Basically, folks, he came off and the Beacons scored 9 straight, and so they had to put him back on here. And kind of, you know, when you talk about Ruben Patterson being the Kobe stopper, Urquhart has been the Lorquette stopper, fighting for a bucket down low, but he misses after 2 putbacks, and Malik gets the board. And that, Steve, is a double-double for Malik Lorquette. He's got another one. Olivier Rodriguez misses it long, but he follows his own shot. Oh, that would have been great to see him put another one up. Great follow, great board from Burris, and a fresh 20 on the shot clock for the Beats.
You love to see it.
Here's Zayas now. Just hit his first 3 of the contest. Feeling a double team, doesn't look too flustered, goes down low to Lorquette, and Urquhart pokes it free. His giant defensive night continues, but that pass turned over from Boyd. He got too far ahead of himself, couldn't slide the pass over to Sanders Dyer. Great stop. Once again, the Beacons playing world-class defense tonight. Zayas, left-handed dribble drive, and he used that arm, I believe. No, I thought they were going to call him for the ward-off. Instead, Nick Boyd committing the foul.
You know, we're talking about coaches having pretty epic speeches at halftime to rally the troops.
Oh, it sounds like we got a story coming.
Yeah, I still
lay
have
it on us.
I still have it at my house. University of Southern Maine coach decided to shatter a dry erase board on the ground, and I still have a piece of that signed by him hanging up in my house as a senior year present.
That is phenomenal. I thought you were gonna say that he shattered it and then a shard of it like hit me and I had to miss the rest of the game. I actually wore an eye patch for a couple of days. There you go. Hey, sometimes in basketball, in life, all you need is to get yelled at, and it woke the Beacons up. And so, real quick, let's talk about Mike Urquhart, because once again, he comes back onto the floor. He gets 2 rebounds, offensive boards over Malik Lorquette. He can't get the shots to drop, but one would think, what would this game look like if they couldn't have 31 out on the floor? And he, just his second game back from injury, he did miss 3 games in the middle of the season. So only missed 3 games, but he doesn't look rusty, and this is his second game back from that 3-game absence.
Yeah, he's completely solid. You know, you're not going to get many offensive rebounds on him. It speaks to it. He has, 16 rebounds on defense? It's just you're not going to get second chance opportunities. What has to keep happening is guards crashing from the outside, because the big man is sealed off. It's not happening.
All right, Beacons on the inbound here, 14:54. And that ball was touched while out of bounds by Malik Lorquette, and that might be just the shift in momentum that the Corsairs needed. I'm not sure who to pin that one on, the inbounder or Lorquette, not knowing where he was on the floor, but that didn't lead to anything, and not a good possession after a timeout for the Beaks.
Yeah, you don't want to see that happening after a timeout. Timeout's usually a momentum shift. You want to come out with a play, a plan, something to execute.
Leonard skied up for that rebound, and he keeps it into Marcil. Oh, stolen by McKenzie, and he fights off the body contact from Martins Jr. Hanging around Sanders Dyer, and he styled on him to boot. He spins backwards for the right-handed finish.
He was trying to time him. He jumped pretty high. Xavier was not having it.
Xavier McKenzie, not a name to ignore. Urquhart spinning, missing. Lorquette can't corral it. Big play there from Leonard to grab that board. Sanders Dyer, this is huge, and he hits it. It's a long 2, toe on the line for Dalen Sanders Dyer. It's happened. I don't know if it's just, maybe it's a slightly different gym that we've got than they have in Dartmouth. Who's to say? But good-looking shot for Sanders Dyer. He slowed down after a good first 2 minutes of action. That's a big bucket for him. And the Corsairs back to within 14. But McKenzie up and under, over to Lorquette, spinning and winning over Urquhart. And the Beacons kind of dropped the ball on that, but the pass still did get into Lorquette, who was able to finish it for 2. Yeah, kudos to Malik Lorquette for staying the course tonight. It was a rather ugly 4 of 15, and this second half has gone swimmingly. Mike Urquhart's big night continues. That's 8 points now down low to go along with his 17 rebounds tonight.
Yeah, Lorquette's playing really well. You know, you're not hitting the shots. A lot of players get really frustrated and start doing poor things. You know, maybe an aggressive foul, bad shot.
Like that right there.
Yeah, but instead he's keeping his head cool and just doing what he does.
That's another frustration foul for John Martins Jr. His second now. Looking at the numbers for the Beacons, Malik Lorquette, 9 points at halftime, now 17 points in this contest. Officially just 8 rebounds on our score sheet. So I'm sorry, I must have gave him a couple at the beginning of the half, but still very much flirting with that double-double. Xavier McKenzie right behind him with 15 points. Bobby Joy, he's got 5. Vying for his 7th there. Great defense from, that looked like Jaquan Leonard. Now Leonard threw it away. I'm not sure. You saw what happened was that Martins Jr. continued his run in for a layup.
Yep.
Trailing by 14, you also saw what Leonard thought of, hey, you have an open corner 3, let me get it to you. Are you allowed to just call that one a wash for both players, or is one of the two guys at fault for that play?
I think if you're running that fast, it's going to be tough to fade out and get into a good spot to have a shot. If the max effort sprint down the court, you might want to turn that into a layup.
Yeah. 5 team fouls already now. Is that the second foul committed by Dalen Sanders Dyer? And so that's lovely news for the Beacons, who are trying to salt away a 14-point lead with, 12 minutes, 40 seconds left to go on a running clock.
Yep.
Lorquette screaming for it. Burris can't get it to him. Finally corrals it, and now Malik face up to the basket with 8 to shoot. What a spin move, and he finished! Ryan Flauto had absolutely no shot, but no one on this planet did on a move like that. When Malik goes, I want it face up, it's his game. 19 now for Malik Lorquette.
Spin move is too fast to guard this. You can't even put a forearm on him to slow him down.
It's like pressing the B button in a game of Madden right there to go across sport reference right now. You're welcome, Malik. I know you're going to watch this one back. Xavier with another steal. 2-on-2, probing ahead, around Leonard, and he goes with the right hand and lays it in for 2. What a sight to behold. A senior enjoying the fruits of his labor in his senior year. A freshman coming along and building his own superstar status right now. And it seems like it's every night for the Beacons that they both show out. And right now the Corsairs had to think they were onto something in the first half, looking up at the scoreboard and realizing that might not be the case.
Not the case. Freshmen aren't supposed to do this. They're not supposed to be this good coming in. This is my first time really seeing him play, and if you told me to guess what year this kid
you would say he's probably like 23 years old,
yes,
right? Yeah, he's a fifth-year senior. Yes, that is a grown man doing what he's doing out there. Timeout on the floor. I think Steve and I were getting a little slap happy up here ourselves. We'll take a timeout as well. 11:43 left to go. Beacons, all of a sudden, Lincoln, you would have missed it, up 18. More after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
I just wanted to get good grades and to do well. But it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
You're there to get a full college experience, not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that. And it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with
Rejoining the action here at the Clark Athletic Center, Beacons leading by 18. UMass Dartmouth gave the Beacons everything they could in the first half, and maybe that was all the gas they had in the tank right now. Mike Urquhart's still out there with his 3 personal fouls. He's the motor driving the Corsairs ship. 3-point goes long for Sanders Dyer, and it's right off the face, unfortunately, of John Marcel. That one looked like it hurt. He was in right position to make it and just took the care of it. You're a basketball player. You played down low. I'm sure plenty of stories about that happening.
Coming in hot, sometimes your hands don't work with your eyes.
I actually while calling public address, not at UMass Boston, but at a high school game, I was looking down to write a foul, and I took a basketball right to the center of the nose with the glasses, and I had to leave the game. So nobody's immune on a basketball court. Let's see what Xavier has in mind. He spins. I think he stepped out of bounds. That's like the 5th time now that that's happened in this contest. I want to say 3 or 4 times against the Beacons, 1 or 2 times against UMass and Dartmouth. Course integrity is what they call it when you're dealing with golf or with a football field right now. It exists on the basketball floor too, but we've seen plenty of instances today, if I don't know what it is, players toes on the line, toes out of bounds and not realizing it. And it's definitely led to a rather stop and start herky-jerky kind of staccato basketball pace that we have to this game. Marcil, he's a great shooter. He finally gets to step into one, and he lets it rip. And John Marcil, the team's 5th leading scorer, improving on his 41% three-point shooting numbers on the season. We saw it on the front of the screen. This is a team that shoots 38% from beyond the arc, but there's just no opportunity to get those good shots from beyond the arc right now for them. Big steal there for Martins Jr. as Lurquette was trying to find Olivier Rodriguez. You can hear Coach Harris imploring his team to get back on defense and hurry up. Instead, Sanders Dyer gets around Olivier Rodriguez. Urquhart tried to take on 2 Beacons. That might go against Lurquette. I think it's going to be against, no, Bobby Joy on the backside of the play with a hole. So that's his first. And Mike Urquhart, which he very much deserves, has a chance to get into double figures with these 2 free throws coming up here.
Man's having a fantastic game. I mean, that amount of rebounds is impressive in its own, but he deserves double digits with how he's been playing.
He's not going to get it on this trip down the floor unless, barring an offensive rebound here, because he misses that one long. Covering the numbers right now for Mike Urquhart, he's played 25 of the game's 29 minutes. He's 4 of 13 from the floor, 8 points. Still with 8 points after that miss there, but 17 rebounds.
Wow.
And really the only chance that the Corsairs have to stop a free-flowing Beacons offense is putting him in the middle of the floor on defense. Manny Zayas going right back down low into Malik Lurquette. That one tipped free by Sanders Dyer, and a very heady play by Jaquan Leonard to get in and corral that ball for the Corsairs. To a cutting Urquhart up and under, and there's the double-double. 10 points to go along with 17 points. To go along with 17 boards for Mike Urquhart. And Coach Harris, he's seen enough. He wants to take a quick break. We'll take a quick break ourselves. 10:05 left to go in this contest. Beacons up by 13. It's 44-31.
Figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us to succeed.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school. It's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
Rejoining the action here and seeing some fight out of these UMass Dartmouth Corsairs. They've scored the game's last 5 points. The Beacons had taken this game up to their largest lead of 18 points. Still holding a 13-point lead now. Fresh off the timeout. That one almost thrown away, but Xavier gets to it. And 16 to shoot now for the Beaks. Zayas, feeling the Burris screen, doesn't want it. Instead, he'll take on Leonard by himself. Crosses over again. Pulls it back, and that's a tough jumper. He misses it just short, and the rebound gets handed off to Sanders Dyer. And here come the Corsairs trying to keep this little momentum, this little 5-0 run that they have going. Urquhart wants it. 10 points, 17 boards today to Isaac Percy. Percy, jab step, wow. Tough too. And the run continues for the Corsairs. It's 7 straight. And Steve, they're back to within 11. It's 44-33.
Not a good sign. Last possession by the Beacons was very one-on-one. Not how they've been getting any of their points tonight. Got to find out what they can do here.
Percy now one of 4 Corsairs with more than 7 points. Lurquette climbing the ladder. That one actually hits off the head of McKenzie. What a job rebounding there by Sanders Dyer. He was the shortest guy by inches across the board. And even better defense from Bobby Joy. So let's go back the other way. 3-on-2. Joy, a transition 3, and it's short. Oh, it looked good there for a near 50% shooter, but we'll take it back the other way. But yeah, 4 different players for the Corsairs with 7 points or more. Martins Jr. with 7, Percy with 7, Urquhart with 10, and Sanders Dyer with 8. 3-on-1 now. McKenzie Oh, cups the layup, and he finishes with the right hand. He had 2 players to pass to. He didn't need to pass it to anybody, and the Beacons back up 13. That's a big bucket to stop the run, and it's the freshman getting it for you.
Yeah, and on the other end, Malik's presence in the center just scares people. He's not jumping in the air, he's just in there. So the number 11 drives to the basket, tries to hand off pass to big 31. Didn't need to. He had a floater. Malik's not doing anything crazy. He's just there, and he scares people, and it's fantastic.
Percy working against Burris. He'll hand it off to Jaquan Leonard. Ball on the deck for Leonard, where he's met immediately by Burris. Probing around, and I think Tommy just rode him a little too hard there. Now, on a play like that, Steve, and you have the referee that's out here with us on the perimeter, is he talking to Tommy at any point in the play and telling him, like, hey, keep it? Because it looked like he was waiting for the opportunity to call that foul.
Good refs will let you know that you're doing something incorrect.
Blocked by Lorquette! Urquhart tried to take him on. There was no room to be had. And here comes Zayas. He'll peel it back. What a big play there. Burris, open 3, short, and Olivier Rodriguez jumped too early for the board. Once again, the Corsairs just still hanging in this contest as we're under the 8-minute mark, 7:49 to go on a running clock. Percy, he hits it. Oh, wow, that's a big tray ball for Isaac Percy. He's now in double figures with 10 points, and the Corsairs back to within 10. That's what Coach Harris called the timeout to try and stop. The Beacons really want to see a bucket on this go-around.
Yeah, 2 big 3-pointers missed over the last 2 possessions. That would have really shifted the momentum back to us.
Zayas looks in the direction of Bobby Joy. Joy on the deck. They get it inside to Lorquette. Oh, and he'll get it at a 4-2 in his spot where he can turn, but Urquhart with a huge block. Mike Urquhart, I'm going to remember that name for quite some time based off this performance. Sanders Dyer, that's a huge 3. No, it's a 2. Once again, a long 2.
The Dartmouth special.
That's twice today, and that honestly, Steve, that could be a 6-point game instead of the 8-point game that it is right now. It's Beacons 46, Corsairs 38. Zayas off the screen from Lorquette. Olivier Rodriguez was thinking 3. Instead, he wings it over to Joy. To Zayas. Straight away 3. It's long. Mariano there for the board. Swings it over to Bobby Joy. A fresh 20 on the shot clock, and it's an awkward-looking runner, but a good-looking runner. It drops in for 9 points now on the night for Bobby Joy. And the Beacons, right when they needed, back up double figures.
Yep. That was, they've been doing a lot of floaters tonight that didn't look good. That looked very under control and comfortable. He must practice that shot a lot.
Bobby Joy now with 9 points, 3rd on the Beacons tonight, trailing Lorquette's 19 and Mackenzie 17. Guys, we'll take a quick break here. 6:40 left to go. Beacons 48, Corsairs 38.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
My greatest personal discovery has been that I am capable of doing things that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
To be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
And we rejoin you here high atop the Clark Athletic Center floor. Beacons holding a 10-point lead, needing a stop on defense right now. I'm Chris Del Sordo. He's Steve McGuire. You are watching your Beacons fight for their 12th win of the season, and they're coming across a very tough 3-10 opponent, the UMass Dartmouth Corsairs.
Yeah, they're playing above what we expected out of them, and they're actually putting a lot of hurt on the Beacons right now. We'll see if they can close this down to a single-digit lead right now.
8-board advantage for UMass Dartmouth, 42 rebounds to the Beacons' 34. Jaquan Leonard out along the perimeter with John Martins Jr. Martins Jr. probing in, nothing doing. He picks up his dribble, and Burris reaches out, and he throws it away. It was a big steal, but a worse turnover. Urquhart over Lorquette with the left hand. And Urquhart now 12 points to go along with 18 boards in a career day for the junior out of Pittsfield, Massachusetts.
Yeah, he's playing out of his mind right now. It's pretty cool to see.
Mackenzie thought about the 3 for a second. That's not his game, especially at this point in the game with the Beacons holding an 8-point lead. Instead, he puts it on the deck. Crosses over. picks up his dribble, gives it to Malik. Malik right back to X. X, jab step, left-handed drive. Pulls up the shot, and it's stolen away. Big play there. I believe that was Martins Jr. that poked it free. Percy is stripped by Olivier Rodriguez. Brilliant play from Mariano. All of the refs saw it, not close to a foul. He stayed home. He stayed where he needed to. That's a fifth-year senior playing like one for the Beacons.
Those are quick hands. That's usually called a foul when you chop down like that, but he must have hit every ounce of the ball.
Shot clock still at 22 for the Corsairs here. As Jaquan Leonard, he's now taken over the main ball handling duty from Sanders Dyer. They need Sanders Dyer to get points for them, and he gets a good-looking shot there, misses long, then misses the next follow-up short. Good stop for the Beacons. Let's see who they look to on offense with 5:19 on a running clock.
Slowing it down, just getting something good.
In the corner, they go to Lorquette. Lorquette picks up the dribble. Hook shot halfway home, in and out. That would have been 20, but it's thrown away. It's another Tommy Burris steal. Picks up his dribble, gets it back to X, and we're under the 5-minute mark now with the Beacons holding an 8-point lead. McKenzie out there with Joy, Burris, Lorquette, and Olivier Rodriguez, and he almost didn't need any of them, but Malik tracks down the board, and he throws it to Olivier Rodriguez falling out of bounds, so no contact because that play was out of control, but the Beacons do maintain possession. Joy stops on a dime, no look to Lorquette, in and out again. How close can he be? And it's another stop. And now Dalen Sanders Dyer over to John Martins Jr. This could make it a 5-point game. Halfway home, in and out. Percy's rebound is long. Urquhart fighting with Olivier Rodriguez. It's on the deck. It's still loose. And it's finally a jump ball thanks to Xavier McKenzie saving the day. But as it usually happens in runs like that, possession arrow keeps it with UMass Dartmouth.
Yep. And, you know, I'm looking at Malik's body language, and it hasn't changed this whole game. Frustrating game, you're missing, you know, some chip shots, and he doesn't put his head down, he doesn't get angry, he just keeps working. That's the sign of a really good player.
Well, I'm assuming he's getting very angry. He's just maybe not letting it affect the way it's kicked right down on the floor.
Yeah, on the inside, you're swearing up a storm.
Your point is very much taken, though. It hasn't stopped him from doing what he's needed to do on the floor. He hasn't once shied away from a look or an assignment underneath.
Yep.
But it's just an 8-point lead now, and another steal from Tommy Burris. Oh, my goodness. And Xavier McKenzie turning on the Jets around Percy. Don't count the basket. That's an offensive foul. And, Steve, I know you saw it, too. He didn't need to do that, and he did it anyway, and that might be, well, he's a freshman.
Yeah. 24 was going to run right past him. Just got to go up. Go up higher than him. He's not going to be able to jump with you. Don't have to push him off.
Xavier McKenzie normally plays all 40 minutes. He did get himself a 3-minute break. He earned it, but we anticipate to see him the rest of the way here. Sanders Dyer, he over-penetrates on that play. Picks up his dribble back to Martins Jr. Percy, fronted by Burris. He's turned it on here in the second half. Martins Jr., you can't leave Percy open. He keeps the pivot foot down, and he misses short. That's a huge miss. McKenzie, heady play there to pull the defender towards him, and he'll win the possession back to the Beacons on the jump ball. Now, I saw what you saw, Steve. He got away with a body pull, but it was perfectly where the refs couldn't see it, and then it led to the jump ball. What I just said, he made a freshman mistake, and then he makes a fifth-year senior play again.
It's all about angles.
And it's not like you're riding a roller coaster with Xavier McKenzie. You're getting phenomenal play the whole time. It's just every now and then you kind of want to remind yourself, oh, he's just a freshman. I'll take it easy on him. Here. And then he's like, no, don't. I got us. Don't take it easy on me at all. It's so pleasant to watch. This is probably the last chance we'll get to catch our breaths here with this media timeout, so we'll throw it to a quick break. 3:51 left to go. Beacons 48, Corsairs 40.
Women's basketball, their first home.
Proportion to.
We're back here. It's still an 8-point lead for the Beacons, 48-40. 3 minutes, 51 seconds left to go here. UMass Boston with the basketball. And Steve, going to anticipate probably a full court press the rest of the way from UMass Dartmouth. And they have two very capable players in the form of Dalen Sanders Dyer, number 11, and Jaquan Leonard, number 14.
Yeah, if a press is coming, just be there for the pass. Don't try to dribble through it. That's where the pressure gets you.
Well, Emmanuel Zayas wanting to take on Leonard by himself. Oh, wow, and a beautiful fake to get right behind him and get it across the timeline. And that'll allow the Beacons to eat away at the shot clock and just run some more time off the game clock. Burris gets the handoff from Zayas. Olivier Rodriguez cutting underneath. Gets the handoff from Tommy Burris. Olivier Rodriguez all the way out to Manny Zayas. The Beacons, it looks like they're planning on taking every second off the shot clock on this possession. Lorquette feigns the screen. Now he sets it to the left side. Zayas, forces it in. Beautiful move from Lorquette. That is too easy, and that is the patience of Manny Zayas coupled with the veteran knowledge of Malik Lorquette. Follow-up is good for Isaac Percy. And Percy, the junior out of Pittsfield, Mass, had a quiet start to this contest. Very quietly up to 15 points now for the junior.
Wow, and the patience on that pick and roll is super impressive. You know, he was open early, but if you make the pass too quick, it ruins the flow.
That's part of me. That's just 13, but still an impressive 13 and a team-high 13 for Isaac Percy. Zayas over to Burris for the dagger. No, in and out. Olivier Rodriguez almost tipped it over to Lorquette, but instead the Beacons going to have to stand on their heads on defense. Martins Jr. drives around Lorquette, hanging in the box. Martins Jr. gets the board. It's blocked by Lorquette. That might be a foul against Burris. If not, it's number 2 on Malik, and that's the second personal foul against Malik Lorquette. So the Corsairs very much still in this contest now with John Martins Jr. headed to the charity stripe. He is a 56% free throw shooter coming into action. True senior out of Taunton, Mass. Played in all 4 games this season for the Corsairs. First one is short for the 56% shooter. That's a big miss, and now, even if you get a make out of Martins Jr., you're still dealing with a 3-possession game here, and it kind of just comes down to the simple math at that point, at the end of a ball game. That one off the front iron, but he gets the friendly roll, and now the Beacons not hurrying their setup here to try and break this press. The Corsairs only keeping one man all the way back, that's Jaquan Leonard, and it looks like Zayas is going to fairly easily get around him going left to right.
Light pressure, just make him think about it.
Zayas heads to the coach's hatch, gets the instructions from Coach Harris, has some room on the right-handed drive, slips it over to Lorquette. Oh, and he is fouled hard en route to the hoop. I think they might be saying that's a foul on the floor. No, it is a foul on the shot. Right call from the referees there. It is John Martin, his second, and 2 more coming for Malik Lorquette. Malik, 21 points now on the night. Past his season average of 19.1 per contest. Hits another one. 6 of 6, and that one even sounded good as it went nothing but net from the line.
Free throws sound great right now. They're looking good for a big man. That's usually their downfall, but he's doing really well this.
Yeah, it's worth noting is Malik is now 7 for 7 from the charity stripe. 8 of 23 from the field. And that's not a good night for a big man, but no one's upset at the 23 shots that got put up, and no one's upset at the final box score line right here. And that just shows you, hey, you have a luxury in having a player like Malik Lorquette. Not many other programs in the nation have a player that can essentially roll out, not play great, and still command the game.
Yeah, it's
and
impressive.
Score 23 and make every free throw shot and get double-digit boards. It's just incredible. It's you see something new every night with this guy.
He's wildly impressive.
And you look at it as the Beacons never really were able to run away from UMass Dartmouth. They got 2 separate 18-point leads, but the game never stayed at that shape. They needed every point they could get out of Malik. He stops. This time he'll vie for an assist, and he'll get it. Manny Zayas flipping the script. He gets the feed down low from Lorquette and puts it in, and the Beaks back up double figures, and that's nice. That's a nice gap to look at, a 54-43 lead. Leonard on the deck, kicks it over to Nick Boyd. Corner 3, that one's off, and that's a foul underneath against Tommy Burris. He's had a great night affecting everything but the scoring column.
Yeah.
And just got whistled there for working a little too hard underneath.
Yeah, I mean, it was a long three-pointer. He was doing what he was supposed to do. He just got caught.
Tommy Burris has played 31 minutes tonight, 0 of 3 from the floor, but you needed him out there for all 31 minutes that he played. Looking at some of the extracurriculars, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, 6 steals for Tommy Burris tonight. That is unbelievable work, and you could feel his presence especially in the transition defense game, the second that he came in.
Not everyone's supposed to score. Some games that's for other people, but you still have to make an impact.
Oh, Manny Zayas, he's very much trying to score right now, playing around Boyd. They go to Burris in the corner, they kick it back out. McKenzie now, working on Percy. He might try to pull from 3 here. Instead, he puts it on the deck. Pull back, he got fouled. Great shot creation there from Xavier McKenzie, and I do believe as we're heading close to the 1-minute mark, he does have a chance to also hit the 20-point mark tonight.
Man.
17 for McKenzie right now to go along with 2 assists, 2 steals, and 3 rebounds.
He creates so much space on his moves. The ball handling in traffic is insane.
First one up and long, and so a great night for Xavier McKenzie, only dampered with a little bit of struggles at the charity stripe now. He's still 3 of 6, or pardon me, still 50% from the floor, but now he's also 50% from the line, 3 of 6.
Got it.
One more coming here. He can get to 18 with the shot. And he does just that. Nothing but net for X. Bobby Joy coming back on. And so the 5 on the floor right now, Ike Alua, Bobby Joy, Emmanuel Zayas, Malik Lorquette, and Xavier McKenzie. Jaquan Leonard, head full of steam across the timeline here, swings it over to Nick Boyd. UMass Dartmouth really needs to get these shots up and get them up quickly. That one is missed. Another rebound for Lorquette to add to the total. And now the Beacons can start the celebratory process of just bleeding this clock out. Zayas feels a slight double team. It looks like Donaldson might be coming in for one more defensive possession. McKenzie rolling in and give him 20 points.
There it is.
Just like that, he lulled the defense to sleep, and the lane was right there. Boyd going up over Joy. He gets fouled.
Looked like they were taking the air out of the ball and just decided, you know what, you guys give me a lane, I'm going to have to take it.
And you talked about it, Steve. His movement on the dribble, on the change of direction, are like twice as fast as the next closest defender. Yeah. And they're so dramatic and so linear that just the way he's moving gives him the opportunity to get even more space by just changing direction. And he's 2-3 years younger than the guys he's going up against as well. It's just a crazy recipe coming together in the form of X McKenzie, the basketball player, and it's such a sight to behold.
Yeah, you mentioned that he lulled him to sleep. As soon as he slowed down the dribble, everybody goes, oh, we finally have a moment of respite. He can rest for a second. And then he turns
and then they rest, and he's laying in the ball behind them.
Yeah, it's wild.
Nick Boyd with a couple of makes there to bring this back to a 12-point contest. UMass Boston going to have one more possession to try and run out the clock. Bobby Joy looking like a football wide receiver there, hauling that one in over the shoulder. And at least we are at the spot of the game where the shot clock will turn off here. Beacons probably want to get one more look up with Donaldson and Alua on the floor. Those are 2 players that the Beacons have a lot of future hopes invested in. Alua turns it over, though, and Boyd, that's a true freshman, speaking of young players, getting to the tin and laying it in. And so UMass Dartmouth, you're sure that they don't want to see this be a double-digit game, fighting here to bring it back to within single digits. Malik Broom seeing his first action, gets it to Bobby Joy. One last effort there from Isaac Percy, but that will do it. 40 minutes of very hard-fought basketball, but Steve McGuire, you look at the scoreboard, and right now, the Beacons have moved to 12-3, and second place in the LEC now with a 5-1 record. It was ugly, but the job is done, it's completed, and the Beacons win. Final score, UMass Boston 57, UMass Dartmouth 47. What's the lasting memory, the taste in your mouth that you leave this game with? Because we can look at it a lot of different directions. For as great of a night as Xavier McKenzie had, it was as bad of a shooting night as Malik Lorquette had, but as great of an overall night as Malik had, you kind of did have a quiet night out of Emmanuel Zayas. The defense played great, but they needed to because the offense only scored 57 points. What are you, the ex-Beacon, taking out of this contest?
We're spoiled here. You know, if you have one game where somebody's having a bad game, there's somebody else that's going to take over and do something different. So, you know, it was supposed to be a higher scoring affair, but the people that didn't play well were matched by people who played incredibly well. And, you know, just because you don't score a bunch of points, you did a bunch of other things correct. And I like to see what this talent is.
Malik Lorquette back tied atop NCAA Division III with his 11th double.
Man, he's a machine. And this is the first time I've got to watch him this season, and he just works. No matter what's happening, he doesn't quit. It's just awesome to see somebody not get shaken by not having a great shooting night, but still doing what he's supposed to do for this team.
So the Beacons win by 10. They move 12-3 on the year, 5-1 in LEC conference play with the loss. UMass Dartmouth 3-11 overall, but just falling to 4 in the LEC. And you got to think this puts some wind in their sails moving forward to the rest of their LEC conference schedule as well.
Yeah, I feel like Urquhart's going to have a great rest of his season. To be able to go up against the best players in the country and play really well, that's got to put a feather in your cap that you can brag about for the rest of the season.
Mike Urquhart ends the game tied with Isaac Percy for a team-high 12 points. He ends the game with a game-high 9 points. We'll take a quick break here to get our final numbers together and send you off, and we'll send you off with a win. We also just had a very exciting women's basketball game between UMass Boston and UMass Dartmouth. Didn't end with the same result, but you're going to want to see the highlights. We have them for you right here.
Women's basketball, their first home game of 2023 inside the Clark Athletic Center, taking on a tough UMass Dartmouth Corsairs team on Wednesday night. Early on, all Beacons, Meg Dixon had 2 technical free throws that she'd hit to make it 2-0, and then Alexa Potter hits her shot right there, makes it 4-0 UMass Boston. Potter on the miss from Paige Olivier lays this one up and in, makes it 6-2 UMass Boston. Then the cap off the run, Carrie Ann Farina with the steal against Jordan Moretti, makes it 8-2 UMass Boston in the early going. Paige Olivier, who had herself a season-high day with 16 points, hits a 3 right there to put the Beacons in control. And then Olivier again with a layup with the Beacons down by 1 in the closing moments of the first quarter. Lays it up and in. The Beacons go up 17-16 heading into the second quarter. And then Olivier again kicking off a 9-2 run for the Beacons in the second quarter with the 3 right there as they trailed by 6. Sunny Green with the tough layup gets it to go. The Beacons continuing to work themselves back into this game. Tatiana Febvre, the freshman, with the tough layup, makes it a 1-point game. And then Sabela Jensen gives the Beacons the lead back, 26-25 on that layup. About halfway through the second quarter, we move on later in the second quarter. Paige Olivier with a 3, a part of a 7-2 Beacons run to close out the second quarter to help them go into the half up by 4. As you see Sabela Jensen with the layup right before the buzzer. Beacons up 37-33 into the halftime locker room. Coming out in the second half, Sunny Green with this layup gives the Beacons their largest lead of the game at 7 points, 40-33. But then the UMass Dartmouth Corsairs would respond. A layup right here ends up making it a 3-point game in favor of the visiting team, 45-42. But then the Beacons respond with a 10-0 run, starting with Alexa Potter right there. A nice feed to her, and then Meg Dixon. It's tipped around. Dixon down low somehow gets it to fall on the Beacons. Pouring it on now, Biba Jakimi Pearson with the turnover on that steal right there, lays it up and in. The Beacons now in control by 3, and they continue to go at it. Potter down low gets the feed, the spin move, layup. The Beacons up now by 5 points, and then Potter capping off that run to give the Beacons a 7-point lead again with a jumper. UMass Boston in full control, but then the Corsairs would work themselves back into this one, and then Paige Olivier hits a pair of free throws to put the Beacons up by 2 heading into the fourth. Jessica Carroll, though, with a pair of big shots for UMass Dartmouth right here. A jumper right there, and then a 3-pointer help make it a 5-point game in favor of the visitors. Trailing by 4 later on, you see them down low again, the Corsairs giving it back to the Beacons, now up by 8, and then Kaylin Zalewski with the 3 puts UMass Dartmouth up by 11, with just over 5 minutes to go. But the Beacons would respond. Paige Olivier right here hits another 3, and just like that, it's an 8-point game. Once again, the Beacons trying to climb back into it. Tatiana Febvre with the layup right there makes it a 5-point game, and then Meg Dixon, a layup, makes it a 5-point game yet again, 72-67. And then Alexa Potter hits this free throw right here. It's now a 2-point game with 3 minutes left, but then Jordan Moretti seals the deal for UMass Dartmouth. A deep 3 right there makes it a 5-point game, and then Moretti yet again on the screen nails another. Jordan Moretti finishing this game with 19 points on 6 of 17 shooting. UMass Dartmouth takes this one 82-75. The Beacons are back in action in LEC conference matchup on Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock against Keene State.
And we are back. A 10-point victory for the Beacons, which brings them to the 12-win plateau on the season. 57-47, the final score. Not a set of 2 numbers that you're going to remember this game when you go back and look back at the Beacons schedule, but a big, important conference win nonetheless. I'm Chris Del Sordo, joined by Steve McGuire. And Steve, when we look at these final statistics, you see the one stat that ultimately swayed in the Beacons' direction, and obviously it's always beneficial not turn the ball over. But across the board, the rest of the way, they weren't out in front of UMass Dartmouth by any means. Basically, the willpower of two players in particular getting the team across.
Yeah, absolutely. Malik and X just doing what they needed to do, get the job done. I talked about it multiple times today. Just Malik not getting flustered and just doing what he is doing. And then watching X, a freshman, make the moves he did was wildly impressive. I mean, the man's creating distance, he's dribbling like a maniac, getting to the cup pretty easily.
Here's some wild stats for you real quick as we cover this back up. We already talked about the crazy big night from Mike Urquhart. 19 boards in just 34 minutes out there, so that's almost 2 boards a minute. That's absolutely insane. But here, team-wise for the Beacon, 16 of the 22 field goals in the game were made by either Malik or Xavier McKenzie. All 11 free throws were made by those two. Now, normally, people would say, how are you going to get the job done if one of those has an off night? We've seen off nights from X. We've seen off nights from Malik. This team is still 12-3. There's 17 men on this roster, but a 7-man rotation that basically relies on 2 guys. It's whatever it takes to get the job done here. Is there some fool's gold to this 12-3 start, Steve, or do you like what you're seeing with this 5-1 record?
I think it's too deep in the season to say it's gold. I mean, it's not a fluke. If you have 2 players that are this talented, one has an off night. Their off night is not the off night of other people. If I had an off night, it was 0 for 6 and
12 minutes.
12 minutes and 5 fouls. But these gentlemen, if they have an off night, they're still doing most of them.
And carrying on that point, Bobby Joy came in with a very big, it felt big, 7 points off the bench on 3 of 6 shooting. And then Tommy Burris played 31 minutes, didn't score a point, but 4 rebounds and 6 steals, Steve McGuire.
Yeah.
Where else are you going to get that from?
Yeah,
Who else wants to play 31 minutes and not score but get 6?
I think it's a really important factor in these athletes is knowing that not everybody scores all the points, but there's places for you to shine and change the momentum.
2 games to update you on. Remember, Keene State did win yesterday against East Con 70-58. Plymouth State has held on and earned their first conference win of the season. They beat Castleton. And then West Con, off to a great start this season, rather unexpected. They win by 36 at RIC. So that's 2 teams making pretty big statements here as we hit the midpoint mark, as you just alluded to. We're deep in the season. 15 games in on a 25-game schedule. That means you're 6% done with the season. Conference play the rest of the way. Beacon seem to be hitting their stride.
I love to see it. I think it's going to bode well for the rest of the season. See what they can accomplish, Kelly.
And as it always does, the Clark Athletic Center, it empties out so quickly. So we'll wrap up our broadcast here. The Beacons move 12-3. The Corsairs fall to 3-11. We couldn't have done it without the help of our production team. Michael Vesci, he's off to my right, the producer for tonight's broadcast. Georgia Bonney, she was to my left. She's down the hallway somewhere right now. She did a phenomenal job directing the action tonight. Gina Albano on the graphics. Grace Kelly running the replays. And it was the quartet of Ali Albano, Josh Eastman, Mariano Jimenez, and Jack Snyder running the cameras tonight. For Steve McGuire, I'm Chris Del Sordo. Steve, it was a pleasure to have you on board with us at the Beacon Broadcasting Network.
Absolute
Welcome
pleasure.
aboard. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
We're looking forward to having you with us. I know the next game is on Saturday, doubleheader against Keene State. You're going to have some fun work in front of you then.
It's going to be a great game. I'm excited to see him play.
All right, it's Wednesday, guys. We'll let you go to bed. Have a great rest of your night tonight. Huge weekend of basketball.